Welcome, welcome everybody. How are you all doing? Welcome back to our Meet for Speed. Uh, one more time, one more time. So let me test something new. Here we go. We have some awesome banner with a page to submit. Let me see if there is something cool to add there. No, nothing like that. Okay, cool. Chat it is. Um, Hopefully you all are here. Please share uh, if you see me. Welcome. Here we go. That's my message for all of you. So uh, we are um, starting a new Meet for Speed tradition this year. Um, Unfortunately, Mel, our co-organizer, had to leave the team because she's moving across the pond to a new country where she might be starting a new group, and maybe she will um, work in much more Europe-friendly time frame to accomplish this. No obligation, Mel, no obligation. Don't worry, but good luck with your trip. Hope to see you in a new role in the future. So, as we are assembling here, please share where you are from, where you're located. I'm in New York. In fact, let me try putting that in the chat myself. Uh, there we go. Can I post something here? I have no idea. Folks, please tell me if you can see me and if chat works or not. I have no idea if there is anybody here. Live chat. Oh my God, my YouTube UI actually doesn't show me anything. There we go. I see Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I am in New Jersey, USA right now. Almost NYC. That's my personal account right there. So if you're here, please share. Oh, apparently Paul is here as well. Toronto, Robin, thank you. Welcome, welcome. Yes, please share. Please share. Um, what else in terms of announcements? Well, we do have two new organizers joining us. Not at this session. It was a little too early to announce that and to make that happen. But two of my co-workers at Etsy, one of you might know very well, Paul Calvano, uh, famous speaker and former Akamai engineer and now performance architect at Etsy, will be joining me on hosting New York Web Performance Meetup, as well as, in fact, I can actually click here and show you all the three faces. Yeah, myself, Paul, and let me find that. And Terry is another engineer on our team at Etsy. Is going to be joining us. She cannot make it again tonight. This is not happening, but I hope to see both of them or one of them at a time at these sessions. Paul is quite experienced. In fact, earlier this week he did something very similar at Twitch at WebPageTest Twitch. Let me see if I can share the URL in a chat real quick to his session. Here we go. There we go. So Here is the chat. A session earlier this week, recorded at. Oh, is that correct video I posted? That's a good question. It might have been just a highlight. Maybe not. Videos. Oh yes, it is the right video. That's right. That's right. It's a full video. Community submission with Paul Calvano, ran by Henri Helvetica, who is the web page tests DJ and streamer as well. And Paul was doing something similar to what we're going to do tonight, namely looking at the web pages and improving. Well, maybe not improving pages, that's usually hard, but at least analyzing them and looking at what can be improved on those pages. Before we start, actually, before we talk about our awesome sponsors, I want to invite everyone to post your pages that you'd like to be analyzed. You can see the banner right under here, under there, right? Let me point you in the right place. Right there, right there. There's the banner that shows the URL, and I'll paste the link in the page. Unfortunately, you cannot post URLs in chat. Hopefully I can, and hopefully you can see them. So if you click into that submit form, it's a Google spreadsheet that will basically send me the URL of the page, and I'll be able to see your submissions, and hopefully we can analyze your pages this way. So please, if you have some question about the page you would like me to look at, now is a good time to submit it. And also leave some comments if you want particular question asked, answered, and all of that, right? In fact, you know what? I think I made the form there the URL required. So if you just have questions, let me try editing that form real quick. If only I knew how to do that. I just created the form. My apologies. So a little complications here, because last time we discovered that people had hard time submitting, putting the URLs, and we're like, oh, nobody's posting the pages. We got nothing to analyze. Let's analyze some other pages. And everyone was like, what's going on here? So now you can submit it, either a page or just a question. Actually, you can submit a question. Questions too. And I will be able to hopefully answer it live. Henry, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Am I not seeing everybody's messages here for some reason? Why is that? Huh. Okay. I might need to look in multiple places. Okay, live streaming is always fun. Here you go. Now I see your post. Maybe it's my streaming software. Yes, cooking the soup is the way to go. So everybody, as you cook your soup, submit your pages and we'll analyze them. Henri, you might have one too. Who knows? Who knows? And let me know if the form works or doesn't work for you, because it's the first time I tested it, but who knows? Who knows? In fact, I copied the practice from Henri's stream, and maybe we will automate the system based on the awesome spreadsheet that we built a long time ago, which will automatically run WebPageTest. Although, I might need an API key for that. Maybe someone can help me with that. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Now, very important topic before we kick in and start looking at the pages. Our sponsors. There you go. Our main sponsor, gold sponsor, is WebPageTest by the CachePoint. It's not surprising they're our sponsor. If I click here right now, yeah, there you go. Because we use their tool all the time. This is our favorite tool for analyzing web pages. I feel like I mentioned web page test too many times today, but it's never too many because this is an awesome tool. I highly recommend it. You will see how we use it. So um, thank you, web page test. They do have the free version right now that anyone can use for free, right? You might still want to log in, although I see there are some user management problems they're experiencing right now. Logging in is not required. You will just have some experience with testing and things like that. But if you sign up, you can also upgrade to the paid version, um, and that lets you run API calls in, let's say, your CI/CD environment, right, where you commit your Git to your Git. Maybe it publishes to Netlify, and you want to run your test immediately, right, after that. Or maybe you want to run a test in pre-production environment and test, let's say, Netlify staging or something like that on your PR, verify how it goes, and push to production, right? There are a few things like that. And also, you can run bulk tests using Andy Davis's bulk tester. So, Andy Davis bulk tester, and I don't know if I'm writing it in the right page. There you go. That's what I wanted to Google for. Um, yeah, there you go. I'll share the link in the chat real quick. Um, this is a way for you to run multiple tests, do some analysis, things like that, right? We use it quite frequently where I work, and it's an amazing tool. Andy, great job. Okay, so that's web page test. Oh, yes, I forgot. They also released a new feature called Opportunities and Experiments. You can all check it out on your own, obviously. Did I share web page test URL with everybody? No, I didn't. Let me share that so you can all look on your own. Oops, wrong window again. There you are. Um, so you can look on your own, run your own tests as we go through analysis on the screen, maybe follow and stuff like that, because we will be using WebPageTest as a tool. Again, reminding everybody, we are sponsored because this is an awesome tool, not the other way around. Don't confuse my active talking about WebPageTest with just promotion, right? It's they do sponsor us, but they're an amazing tool. It's completely um, uh, unbiased opinion on my part. I'm absolutely sure of the. In fact, we were using WebPageTest way before they became a sponsor, way before they became a company to be able to sponsor anybody either, right? So hopefully I said enough about that. Another sponsor of ours is maybe all of you know, it's SpeedCurve. They started as a synthetic analysis company and monitoring company using WebPageTest's open source version for their baseline. And now they are also into a real user monitoring product as well. Cliff Crocker, who is one of the early people in RAM real user monitoring, joined them a few years ago, and they're building up their real user measurement products. They specialize in this awesome UI visualizations. They connect synthetic testing with RAM and have quite a few features that we are familiar from open source web page test, but have their own monitoring and things as well. Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you both our sponsors. We really appreciate your support. Without you, we wouldn't be able to go as well and as long through this. And if you ever attended our speaker sessions, you probably saw a lot of awesome gifts and giveaways. Sorry, not gifts, giveaways that we have, uh, including one last week where we gave away two magical cubes. And I don't mean like, yeah, I mean magical cubes and an awesome book. So all of that is provided by our sponsors. By the way, if you ever on our meetup page, I'll post one more link here, which hopefully all of you seen because you probably signed up here. Um, you saw our Meet for Speed sessions like this one tonight, but like we have some speaker sessions and a couple upcoming announcements. One will be about INP. It's a new metric from interaction to next paint. We hope to get Annie Sullivan and Mikhail Mokny. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Um, and from Google's team that specializes in metrics and introducing the INP metric. So we hope to have them on April 4th in New York City in person. So those are the in-person sessions that we have. So feel free to sign up for that. And we also are planning, we'll obviously have Meet for Speed session next month as well. Those are recurring sessions, right? Like this one. And we'll have a conversation with a Shopify team sometime in May, right? The date is not final yet, so we're still planning that. But hopefully you can join us and we'll have an awesome conversation. Definitely, sign up for the group. Make sure you get notifications. Whew, that's announcements. I think that's all with announcements, right? And this is our Meet for Speed. Let's look at the comments if anyone is having trouble getting in or anything. Hopefully this URL is correct over here. Yeah, looks like it's correct. So everybody can join. And if you joined, please submit your page for testing. As your submissions come in, I will be talking and testing the pages that um, um, I'll be looking at, right? So before we go there, however, give me 1 second. Some technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, running live streaming is tough. It's tough, right? But we can win. Okay. Before we go into testing any pages while you're submitting yours, and please submit them, or tell me that the form doesn't work. That works too. Or just ask questions. Questions you can submit here in chat, by the way. Like the form is primarily for the URL submissions, which cannot be submitted in streaming chats on YouTube and other places because of all the spam they want to combat. Not a perfect system, but it works. Okay. Before we go there, I want, as usual, share a few resources. And we usually start with Chrome Developer Tools. I open my Developer Tools right here. I probably want to do it on an empty page, not Meetup page. That's never a great idea. And if you're not familiar with Developer Tools very much, if you press Escape, you get yourself a drawer. The bottom thing that shows up is a drawer. I think you can open it by clicking right there, show console drawer, right? And this can be opened anywhere. It doesn't have to be console tab in particular, right? So this drawer on the bottom, again, the shortcut is escape, uh, has many tabs. Sorry, it keeps resizing itself because it probably remembers how I said it last time or something of that sort. Come on. Why is it hiding my console? Did I resize my console before? I have no idea. But anyway, and you can always add more tabs to this drawer. This is usually advanced set of tools like the coverage report, right, where you can see if your page uses all the CSS it loads. So if we load my page, um, and I believe just click right there, it looks like um, we have a couple extensions. Obviously, extensions don't use all of their code, but Google Analytics uses most of the code. I do have some JavaScript on the page, and most of it is being used. Although my page is kind of an exception. It has very little JavaScript to begin with, right? Okay, back to our drawers. So there are a few drawers here, like configuring network conditions, uh, um, blocking network requests is quite useful if you want to completely block a request and things like that. But the drawer I wanted to look at is the what's new drawer. Sorry, I'm blanking out. I'm looking at multiple windows, making sure we're still streaming, and that doesn't help much to me. Let me see if I can maybe do it a little differently. Can I do it this way? There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm arranging the chats to be able to see you all. So uh, this drawer announces new features in your Chrome developer tools. And this is very useful. And it's a very quick way to know what's new in Chrome developer tools. So there's obviously a blog. So if you click learn more, you will go to the blog with more announcement and information about it, right? But as you update your Chrome developer tools, this drawer will pop out. So click on things, load them, and read that article, right? In particular, I'm happy about this announcement. In fact, I used this today, and this announcement is about reloading or clearing the screen as you hit the reload button in Performance tab. It's extremely useful. We put a lot of effort into doing it manually. In fact, it's not just clearing the screen, it's actually navigating to about blank page, meaning it actually unmounts on all of the events, basically closes the previous state of the page. So you can test it from scratch. So if we go here, for example, right, and open Performance tab, right, if I just hit record, reload the page, and stop, it takes a little bit of time to process, right? You can see how my page did not disappear, right? That's because I manually hit record, reloaded the page, and hit stop the recording, right? And this my page is, I mean, you can tell that it reloaded, right? Like if you look closely. Again, it's not bragging necessarily. Maybe it is a little bit, but but you cannot tell, right, that it reloaded. In fact, you can only tell because I fade in that message about how fast the main content loaded. I no bragging at all whatsoever. But if you this feature is that if we click this button, you can tell that it emptied the page and then navigated to it, right? So now it this reload also automatically stops all of the things loaded, so it kind of like automatically loads everything and tracks everything, right? And now if you hover over it and scrub, you can tell that there was some time that page was actually empty, and it wasn't technically empty. It was again on a previous page, right? Because reloading is not really real navigation. People don't just reload pages, they click a link on a previous page usually, right? But this test helps you visualize the first paint, right? So hopefully it's useful for you as it was for me. And uh, you will be watching this. Sorry, where's the drawer? There you go. That's the drawer for new updates, right? Speaking of all of the awesome updates that Chrome Developer Tools release, I want to highlight awesome resource from Umar Hanza, umar.com/tips, and I'll paste the link into the stream right there. Um, Umar posts developer tool tips. And judging by this number, or frankly, this number, you can tell it's a lot of tips. I spent last year watching them all, and they're short like videos and like screen captures and some short articles on how you can monitor use something. Right? In this case, it is snippets that you can create and run on every page. Right? Umar has I don't know if he has it here actually. Hmm, maybe on his homepage. Yeah, he does have a relatively, well, by now somewhat outdated course. It's called Modern Dev Tools. I did buy it. It's completely worth it, right? Oh, it looks like he has a advanced dev tools course on front end masters now. Okay, I missed that, or maybe I didn't miss. No, I actually watched that, um, but um, Hmm. Anyhow, like I didn't mean to promote his commercial endeavors, which are also useful, but I definitely read this. He recently restarted this. I don't think he has dates here, but if you subscribe, you will get weekly emails with new tips. So really, really recommend it. I'm like, it might sound like I'm just pushing something, but it's really useful resource. I literally put a calendar invite in the morning before our stand up, where I probably drink tea and watch a new article one at a time, usually from Umar. Really can up your game in Chrome Developer Tools. And maybe if you have any interest, we can try them out live. So, please share your links with that as well. Okay, so what other resources? Okay, I don't think I have many other resources. I just like to promote uh, this stuff usually. And let me look at our submissions. I see that there are a couple of submissions right there. Um, oh, I see Accenture. And the question, what can be optimized? By the way, one thing I do not know is who submitted the page. So please, if you have questions, feel free to comment in the chat as we run the test. I know Accenture is a consulting company, um, professional, like big name consultants. So let's load it. I mean, we can see something with our own eyes, right? With like our imperfect tool already. And again, this is a desktop view, obviously. So seems like there is some 360 value that is not above the fold necessarily, but mostly above the fold. What else? Some news, right? Some. Uh, oh, oh, okay. There might be some problems with scripts. Oh, and resubmitted. Okay, nice, nice. So as you could tell, my browser did not really enjoy amount of scripts that were running. I don't know what's up with that. Oh, it might. Oh, I see. So this was loading and was kind of like slow, right? And it ate a lot of CPU, which my computer could tell. Or technically, it's not my computer; it's Chrome browser could tell there's a lot of commotion here. So might be worth testing, right? I am using my own extension that opens the website in WebPageTest very quickly, right? But what you can do is you can run webpagetest.org, just open it in the browser and enter your URL right here. Um, the extension, can I see that? Yeah, the extension is available in Chrome Dev, Chrome, um, how do we call it? Chrome Store. There you go. If you are interested in very shortcut extension, I think my theming and support for dark themes doesn't work, unfortunately, right? But hopefully the team. By the way, I did transfer my permissions to the team, so team can maintain it when they have a chance to do that. But it is a very useful tool, in my opinion, right? Anyhow, uh, since we were looking at the desktop page, I think I will want to look at the desktop, right? Cable from Virginia, kind of a normal test. I don't think I need to do much more. Just for those of you who are not familiar with web page test testing necessarily, um, uh, what was I going to say? I was going to say that um, you could click the advanced configuration right here, do more settings. In fact, last time we tested from Toronto, right? You can change the browser, including specific devices. You can change network profile, right? Um, and resolution, number of tests, right? Things like that. But simple test right here can be a good thing to start. Basically, cable from Virginia, maybe India, Toronto, Frankfurt, mobile phone from Virginia, right? Those kind of good, quick presets that you can use. So let's start the page, start the test. Um, I kind of have a feeling I might want to stop this if it eats all my CPU, but maybe not. Maybe not. Um, okay. So as the test runs, you can also see some useful tips on the bottom. Um, uh, those are not ads; those are promotion of useful resources. Please do not confuse the two. So this particular one talks about most JPEG image compressor, and there's a good article on Planet Calendar. Adekami, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it because we uh, definitely need more of this. I was when I discovered the tips from Umar, I was like, oh, we need that. It's love. It's important. Yeah, Andre, some of those links might be updated. I mean, maybe you could add some more to the rotation. I think we had a few announcements going on in that perfect planet calendar. Okay, here we go. So the test completed, right? Remember, we did ask for multiple tests. Um, Let me see real quick. Uh, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see run one, run two, run three, right? So it ran multiple tests. It did, however, pick the median run based on the median speed index. And by the way, today I realized that right here you can change which metric, which was available in the past based just on the URL parameter, but now it's right here in the UI. Like if you want to say, I want median LCP, for example, right? It might pick a different test for you. No, still test number three, right? And if you quick shortcut, like if you know that this exists here, you can just click run three. It will scroll you down to the right test if you want to go into waterfall, right? But if you just want to click into, let's say, core web vitals analysis or film strip, you can click right there, right? So those are quick shortcuts for you. So again, back to the test. We got the test. We got some summary metrics table right here in the middle. Um, it looks like Core Web Vitals is not doing perfect. Layout shift is not there, which we did notice actually. Even without I, remember when I said, "Oh, we are waiting for something," right? Like maybe you've seen with your own eye. Clearly, there was no layout shift. That being said, above the fold was kind of empty, right? So not necessarily perfect, but at least there's no layout shift, which is great. Not like no layout shift, but it's 0.06 with 0.001 being the threshold for the medium, right? Or good to medium, right? However, largest contentful paint in this test was at 3.5 and TBT was 0.3 seconds, which I feel is actually low, judging that my browser was complaining, right? Um, if we look at RAM dashboard, which I can see had a little bit of a facelift, judging by the UI, right? You can tell that, and this data comes from Chrome User Experience Report, that our current test that we ran actually was somewhat representative of where the P75 metrics are, right? So uh, basically, am I saying the right word actually? Yeah. So basically, this tick over here is not all the way to the right, neither it is all the way to the left. It's kind of like in a right quarter of this bar, and this tick represents current test, right? And you can tell that, yeah, uh, P75 ish, or is it? Yeah, there you go. This is the P75 from Crux, right? This P75 from Crux, right? Our test is kind of maybe a little higher than the Crux number, right? So if you look at first contentful paint in our test, it was 1 second, right? Is right here. The P75 was 1.7, right? Um, Interesting. Huh. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to look at this. Where did these thresholds come from? I don't know. Is web page performance metrics based on synthetic initial load? That's right. I did run initial load of the test, initial load of the page. There is actually a way, if you remember in advanced settings, or maybe you don't remember, but let's take a look. There is a way to load a repeat view, right? In this case, it is based on initial load. In fact, it will always be based on initial load, at least this summary page, right? Summary table, sorry. And it is based on this run number 3. Yeah. Somehow I'm missing the chat messages. I apologize for that. Do I need to? No, there is no way for me to see that better. I will try to look at the chat a little bit more intensively. My apologies. So, again, if we look at the film strip, and that's usually where I start actually, we can see that the initial paint at what was it? First paint was at 1 second, didn't cover too much, right? If we look at LCP, which was at 3.2, yeah, I know it recorded LCP at 3.6, I believe, seconds, but frankly, I don't see the largest contentful paint here, right? I doubt they purposefully tried to skirt the problem, right? Sorry. Oh my God, did I resize my screen? There you go. So I don't think they're trying to skirt the metric on purpose, right? But um, they're not loading the content. That's what we saw with our own eye, right? Henri is asking for the test link. Let me do that. Yeah, the summary page. Um, There we go. I should do that a little bit more proactively. My apologies. So please follow along if you like to look at things. Yeah. Um, so as we saw with our own eye, the actual render that mattered was at 27 seconds, right? So Henri, you asked, what can we tell about it? Well, primary content takes for fucking a lot of time to render. Sorry, 27 seconds is a lot of time. Just period. Like nothing else here. And we did load on cable network, right? So if you look at the waterfall chart below, or we can go back and click that link again. And sorry, my screen keeps zooming in because I changed the resolution. So if you click run 3, click on a waterfall, right? There is a lot of stuff loaded before one of these MP4s started playing, and that is the primary content here, right? Here's your optimization right away. Tyrone, what's the throttling at? I believe we did run cable. Let's say, well, yeah, it was a cable connection. So it is pretty serious. In fact, I mean, judging by the sizes, sorry, I keep scrolling, by the sizes of these MPEG-4 files, right? Um, they are big files, few megabytes of video. Well, there is a 2 megabyte image right before it. Um, and that image is just PNG image of a person on a background, right? But my point is the primary content, and if we click into LCP dashboard on WebPageTest, it's probably not gonna tell us accurate LCP element, right? Um, it did kind of identify it, right? Um, identify the placeholder image, right? Uh, and it actually is request number 37 here, right? But if we, as we saw, at 3.6 seconds, this actually didn't show up, right? Like on this film strip, we didn't see it for 27 seconds. So why is that? I have a feeling something is up with this image being hidden on purpose. Um, book image. Um, hmm. If we had Accenture developers here, oh, maybe, uh, again, I cannot tell for sure. It is supposed to be a placeholder, right? They're trying to do some magic, but clearly that image didn't show up, right? Let's actually take a look at a few other runs because I am concerned that we might have just one test that was flaky. But if you all remember, my own experience was empty screened, right? So if you look at a couple other film strips, yeah, no, no, no. That placeholder didn't really show up in all of our tests. No, I'm sorry. Here it is. In this test, it did show up. Interesting. That's very interesting. Why is that? Some flakiness in the experience, right? The experience is, yeah, it is probably managed by Scene 7. I mean, Adobe is, oh, sorry, Accenture is a big company, right? Um, oh, you're saying like just 2.0.1 second. Yeah, I mean, it is useful, but um, in this particular case, like it would take us forever to scroll, right? And by the way, like this advanced set of settings is actually a very useful set of settings, including the video generation, right? So if you click on this button, it will generate a video for you. And what Henri was referring to is adjusting the frequency of screenshots on this waterfall, on this film strip. Yeah, default is 0.5. Oh, you were saying there is something going on. No, you see, ah, my bad, Henri, I apologize. I kind of was like, nah, what is he talking about? He was just talking generic stuff. But what he's talking about is the fact that on this test, we caught it accidentally. But this placeholder shows up, very useful. And then video kicks in later. Let's take a look at these tests with Henri's suggestion of 0.1 second. Let's take a look. Yeah, looks like something did show up at 3.6 seconds. It was probably one of these images, right? Like one of these placeholder images. Nope, not this one. Is it one of these? Nope, not these. Where is it? This one? Yeah, maybe. No. Basically, one of these placeholder images that has loaded just now, right? One of these requests rendered uh, the placeholder. It feels weird. Maybe it is even this video. Is it? Maybe it is, actually. If we open it up, will it play for us? Huh. Yeah, LCP page didn't show us the right thing, did it? Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm kind of, so if we go to Web Vitals page, which Henri is referring to, and we click on here, or it just scrolls us down right here, right? No, did I click the wrong one? Yeah, I did click the wrong one right here, right? It is an image, and it is it an MP4 image? It's hard to tell. I thought it was an image, right? And Henri's like, go there, like, no, yes, no. Yeah. So on a waterfall, it does look like there is this video going on somewhere early-ish, even on this film strip, right? So there is some video going on early, maybe. Um, Again, let's try again. Let's scroll. Nope. In this run, the video did not have a chance to play, right? So depending on the run, it did play and then stopped playing, right? So the whole idea is that after this initial play, well, in this particular run, it actually kept playing. But in this run, 27 seconds, folks. Same as my experience, right? Oh, so you also have similar interesting problem. I see. Yeah. Um, yeah, looks like there is some MP4 loading, but like the real paint is right there, right? Like our red line is right next to like 7 seconds, and that's where one of these videos finally kicked in as the main video, right? So maybe, and again, we can go deeper into this problem, right? But without the engineer from the team, it would be problematic, right? Like we don't want to go there. So let's roll back a little, go back to if we see any other challenges. But generally speaking, I always start on film strip, right? Film strip was not great. I mean, we did have some of these banners, but we discussed cookie banners in the past. They're not perfect. Probably caused that CLS. Not probably. We've seen the, if we click back to Web Vitals, we've seen that. And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I'm doing it live, right? We've seen that layout shift. Oh, come on. We did have couple layout shifts. One is that with that video, but the reality is that this metric actually didn't represent anything useful. It did capture it, but like in this particular case, nothing really changed. It's just the video playback player was freaking out. And in here, what did we see here? The menu font has changed. Uh, Nothing here. Okay, this layout again. Layout actually didn't change. So uh, to their like here it is. Here is the main offender in my opinion, right? Like this layout shifter thingy. But again, we can talk about this many times. This page was actually not that bad. I mean, our metric was not perfect, but uh, again, it was lower than zero point 0.1, and the visually we actually saw a relatively okay experience from layouts, from Shift's perspective. Okay, let's look at the total blocking time. I wonder what WebPageTest shows us for the total blocking time. It's kind of interesting. It wasn't as significant here. You see, 300 milliseconds. It was higher than 250, which is the threshold, if I remember correctly, right? What's our threshold? No, there's no threshold for that. That's uh, vitals, right? Only vitals page has the threshold for FID of. No, it's actually 300, right? But so it was slightly higher than the 300 threshold and definitely higher than 100 threshold. But I don't see a lot of red in this uh, execution long tasks bar, right? I mean, it is stretched, right? So if we click on this bar, oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to, um, I meant to actually use waterfall customization feature, which is available on performance details page. Sorry, on details page where you can see the waterfall. Oh, come on, come on. There you go. Where you see the waterfall, right under the waterfall, right here, there is a customized waterfall button, right? And it's useful for many other features like using a connection view, for example, like that, for limiting the pixel width, or like actually increasing it to 2000 if you need a big image, right? If you need to see all of the detail. But what I was looking at is actually limiting the load to 5 seconds, for example, right? And I wanted to look at this bottom bar. Oh, I did a little too much customization. Let's come back to 1,000, right? So I wanted to see if there was a lot of CPU activity visually, because 27 seconds stretches your chart too much, right? Well, it looks like 5 seconds was not enough. Maybe let's do 10 seconds, right? Yeah, actually, yeah, I cannot tell these long tasks were pretty bad in this test. However, if you all remember in my test, for some reason, browser was like, holy cow, should I stop this page? It showed me the actual JavaScript um, warning, right? So it's possible that catching this problem is harder, right? So if you as an engineer seen this kind of error, JavaScript, too much JavaScript error, right, that we've seen on this page, um, or too much execution, right? Stop this page kind of error. Uh, Try figuring out how to reproduce it, right? And see what you can do about it. So again, remember, the tools are best, right? Like we have the best tools today. The amount of work that went into WebPageTest is just mind blowing, right? The amount of detail we can see. But tools are sometimes limited, and there are a few areas that some tools have hard time catching, right? You need very specialized tools, or like you need to emulate the whole computer in much more real time. It's not easy, right? So remember, tools, know your tools, basically. Know your tools so well that you can tell whatever something is like caught or not caught. Okay, I think we can argue that uh, um, this is not showing us problems, right? In fact, I don't see a lot of orange spikes. I see a few purple spikes for layout, but nothing really worrisome from this test. However, as we see, like you see how we switched to custom waterfall and went to um, how do we call it, connection diagram, right? And connection diagram can actually be available um, right here under this view, right? We can tell that this dynamic media accenture.com site or host spent, sorry, I wanted to phrase it appropriately, 23 seconds downloading stuff from this connection and 25 seconds or 6 seconds um, downloading on main connection. So if we look at the network bandwidth chart, right, and we used 5 megabit cable connection, it was maxed out, right? And I remember you were asking about what's the throttle, and this is the throttle that affected this video download, right? But remember, my experience on this computer right now was pretty bad too. Granted, I am doing live streaming, right? Like, but my network connectivity is actually not that bad right now, even with it, right? So uh, um, downloading so much content is problematic. So what I want to go do, sorry, what I want to do is look at the number of page weight, and the page is 15 megabytes, right? For a lightweight content, simple content page with video, 15 megabytes is a lot, especially if main content needs to wait all this time, right? So, quick answer for this page: rethink your carousel and video strategy, do better placeholders, things like that. And Henri, feel free to send it over to team at Accenture if you know that somebody might be interested in that. Now, we did have another submission, and by the way, reminder, um, you can use this link. I'll post it in the chat again to submit your pages for analysis, right? And you can see it here on the banner, bit.ly/meet for speed -submit. We do have another analysis. In fact, the person ran the web page test already. Let's open that up. And I'll get Paul to your question really quick in a second. So your question is, do you know if every consecutive WPT run starts with the cookies removed with the previous run? It does, yes. The caches are cleaned and cookies are removed. If you are, so give me one sec, I'll come back to homepage to show you the option. So if you go here and click this first view and repeat view rather than just first view, right? If you go click here, this second run will be not second run, second test within the same run. Second step, I think it's called. I forgot already how it's called these days, but this will be reusing the caches and cookies, right? But if you just do first run and multiple runs, right? That will be clearing the whole browser. It has very sophisticated cleaning capabilities. uh, yeah. Whew. Okay, so this page, this is anchor.com. Okay, this is uh, some kind of tools. I think I know what Anchor does. I think they do some cables and stuff, right? So this is a desktop, and if we emulate the mobile, let's take a look on mobile because that was the mobile test. Yeah, similar content experience with flying in by, well, not content, it's actually e-commerce site. Okay, cool, sounds good. And the test was run on mobile 4G network, right? What else here? 3 runs. Um, yeah, Yeah, it's kind of interesting that 4G is actually has a better bandwidth than cable these days, and latency is comparable, right? So sorry, I keep clicking, hoping to dismiss this. This doesn't work. Do we have to remove cookies every time when we run the tests locally? By local tests, what do you mean? Because WebPageTest is the website, right? If you're talking about Chrome developer tools, then yes, you need to clear caches, cookies, and things like that if you want to clean the whole experience. However, sometimes, oh yeah, incognito window is another way. Yeah. Sometimes you actually do want the same cookies because synthetic tests have a problem. Synthetic tests are varying, right? Like if your site has a lot of experiences, maybe A/B testing, maybe geolocation, maybe some personalization, uh, it might actually vary your experience too much, and your synthetic tests will be too wobbly, right? I know it's not scientific term, wobbly. So sometimes using cookies to fix the user to the same A/B test bucket, for example, or however your website manages that, can be a good thing to do, right? In fact, Paul Calvano, uh, our co-organizer now, um, has a set of tools, and this is the one in particular, and I'll share the link. Yeah, yeah. Um, Here we go. Here's the link, and this helps you convert um, uh, network panel on Chrome Developer Tools into web page test script, right? Um, so basically, you copy the headers from your web page test. So, sorry, not from web page test, from your experience. So if I open Chrome DevTools, right, you go to network. You click on, well, that's a different one. That's Shopify. Sorry. If we reload the page, yeah, come on, come on. Did I preserve? Yeah, I have preserve log going on. So yeah. So if you copy response header, no, this is if you copy these headers over here, right? Sorry, not these request headers. These headers over here. My bad. Right? And go to Paul's tool, um, right? It will generate a web page test script for you to run, right? Just remember that all of this information could be preserved for further future generations. So if you don't want that to be done, you need to, sorry, I'm clicking around. So you would paste the script, or not this headers, but the resulting script. You paste that into web page test, but you might want to do uh, uh, discard the script, right? And discard HTTP headers as well if you don't want others to see this information, right? Be careful, folks. It's security stuff. We don't want things to break for you. Whew, sorry, a lot of talk. Let me have some of that tea again. Okay, so as we are looking at the Anchor website, and by the way, if you submitted Anchor, please share. Feel free to ask the questions. Anchor, right? I don't know how to pronounce it. Anchor. I don't know. Zero LCP. This is impressive. Zero LCP is impressive. That's not bad. Total blocking time, not so much so. Sorry. Like immediately you get yourself a high level answer for where the problems are. It looks like it's an SPA, right? So this might be the cause of our favorite framework, right? LCP is kind of high. Um, However, in this case, it actually represents the content, right? So if we go to film strip, if we click on 0.1 second thingy, um, if we scroll to the right, by the way, it can be a useful feature. And Henri, feel free to uh, share where people can submit this. Maybe clicking this legend could scroll us to LCP frame, to LCP time, right? In the film strip in here. Can be useful. LCP, layout shift. Yeah, looks like this is the 3.8 is our LCP, right? It's probably when this image fully rendered. Oh, it's Next.js site. Yeah, so it is basically the React site, right? Next.js is React, right? The React meta framework. Am I right? Yeah, like now I'm aging myself. Like I might not be like accurate. Yeah, I thought both Gatsby and these guys were both like that. Okay, I like this checkbox for scrolling together. I kind of not like the hanging uh, um, film strip as much. So a little surprised that you folks decided to fix it. Oh yeah, thank you, Tyler. Thank you. Okay, so we all love ourselves Next.js, right? Jesus. 60 requests is when JavaScript is done loading. Oh, Jesus. Oh, some people love their HTTP2 too much. Sorry. Um, I'm just biased potentially, but. And it looks like most of these requests are tiny, right? Or small. Yeah, no, actually not that small. 29K, 42K. Oh, shoot. No, some of them are small, but some of them are actually not that small. But the biggest payload is here, right? Yeah, 600K. And a lot of CPU usage on this request, whatever that is. Maybe it's a framework or something. What is this, by the way? Like, what is this request? Framework. It literally says framework. Sorry, I kind of guessed well. uh, yeah, it looks like the bundling is not perfect here. Again, Next.js team might be able to tell us why this is the most optimal way, but uh, if you look at each request, right? Like let me show why my immediate reaction is negative, right? Like sometimes I react and it's not clear why that is, right? Uh, I don't want anyone to feel that it's just bashing, right? Like it's not bashing, right? I just got used over time to reading waterfalls, and if you look at this, uh, each payload, and let's scroll up, right? Like each request has this two portions to it. One is pale, and one is what's the opposite of pale? Well displayed. I don't know, like robustly colored. Sorry, you know, dark. Okay, dark. Yeah, pale and dark, and that means that pale is the time we wait for. It's basically the time between request was sent and response started to come back, right? And the dark part represents the bytes being sent, right? So if we go, and I'm sorry, I keep jumping between version of this, but if we go to details page to the full waterfall, we click on our favorite customization clip, customization tab, and we limit this waterfall to what is it, 3 seconds, right? And um, let's limit it to actually let's not limit it to requests, right? But you can tell that actually 3 seconds was a little optimistic. Let's limit to 5 seconds, right? we can see that these bars over here are like the bars of downloading, the darker slash lighter bars, right? The darker bars are the download, right? So if you think about it, uh, uh, sorry, bundling changes when downloads happen, right? Because bundling makes more or less bytes in one file. But request itself took forever, right? All of these requests, quite a few of them, from number 16 to number, sorry, oh, really? No, really? From 16 to 69. Ooh, ooh. 53 requests. Sorry, like it's reaction. Like, I'm not bashing, not bashing. Sorry. Almost, almost. Sometimes I'm bashing, but all of them had a lot of wait time, right? If we click into individual requests, and we need to go back to the regular waterfall for that, right? We can see that request start is 2 seconds, time to first byte is a whole second, right? So it took a second to receive the first byte of each request. And then it took very little time to actually download, like literally 14 milliseconds for one request. What was the largest one? This was the largest one, 225, right? For 25 to 125 seconds, milliseconds of download, 1100 milliseconds was waiting for the server, which probably tells me that Anchor should get a better CDN, maybe, right? It's not completely accurate, right? If you look at, sorry, I keep jumping all over the place. My apologies, but if you look at, where's our connection diagram? Did I lose it again? Sorry. Let me get there first. Um, if you look at our connection diagram right here, right? Um, and maybe we can customize the one that we got to convert it to connection diagram, right? We can see that bytes were actually flying in one after another, right? So my reaction to the fact that there were a lot of requests might be just the nature of habit. I might be, is it Netlify, right? Response. I thought I saw Shopify somewhere in there, but yeah, Netlify. Okay, it's Netlify. So back to my comment that my reaction, bad reaction, was to the point that old protocols like HTTP1 didn't want parallel requests a lot, right? In HTTP1 world, we would just have 6 connections, and this would be problematic. In the world of HTTP2, I might be overreacting, right? Because if you look at how well packed the, and again, right here, well packed the bytes for JavaScript are, they are actually utilizing the connection fairly well, right? So my old school gut reaction might actually not be that accurate. So looking at the connection diagram, that did go in pretty solidly, one after another. So I still have a gut feel that something is off, right? I have a gut feel that maybe browsers don't like this for some reason, right? But I might be wrong. I might be wrong. HTTP2 might have optimized it pretty well, right? Kind of weird to see 70-ish requests before images start to be requested, right? Again, not come in, right? Because they started to be requested kind of here, started to be downloaded right here. I would prioritize images over the scripts. Uh, maybe um, time to first byte is actually not completely inaccurate here because um, web server just prioritizes bytes on the wire, and it's actually not as big of a deal, but still kind of bad feel here. Okay, I don't know if I'm mumbling to myself, but please tell me if I'm like not doing good enough explanation and jumping all over the place. I did, however, notice that this request, the very first request, which is, I assume, also Netlify, right? Like, because that's Netlify, yeah. This is unusually slow for Netlify, right? Which kind of means that they use Netlify functions to render this, probably service side rendering, right? Like, or maybe Netly. Oh, it's sorry, my bad. It's not just server side rendering. It is Next.js server side rendering. The fact that Netlify purchased, uh, Netlify hosts Next.js, it means they run Next.js probably worker on the edge, right? And I don't like this time to first byte, right? This, sorry, where's my details? Oops, a bug. Henri, we do have this bug from time to time. Sometimes this navigation between these micro tabs breaks. Let me click here again. There you go. So time to first byte of 1300 seconds, milliseconds, sorry. And actually the bytes flying in around 2 seconds. Time to first byte might be skewed here in some way. It's hard to tell. But actual bytes flying in around almost 2 seconds, this is kind of bad, right? Why is that so slow? I thought Netlify is supposed to be fast, right? Something is off, right? Um, Again, when you buy a service like Netlify, you buy into Next.js paradigm and buy into their "we will take care of it" situation, you are buying a package. You might not be able to unpackage it, right? So choose your frameworks wisely and your vendors. Not to bash both of them. I mean, they're trying to do their best, right? But it looks like there might be something going on that could be more optimal. I'm not a professional Next.js optimizer. I'm not familiar with Next.js at all. Not at all. Well, I'm not very well familiar with Next.js. Um, so let's look at the main thing that mattered. Let me close the old website and the Accenture website. What mattered, as we discussed, is LCP, right? Um, if we go again to our favorite Web Vitals tab, which is now clearly available, and click on LCP, we can see it is this image as we expected. We can see it is request number 75, right? The browser tried to do a request number 75. If you scroll up, it kind of aligns when HTML started to come in, but it might have waited a little more than necessary. It's hard to tell. Actually, let's scroll up to the actual image tag right here, the attribution. It does actually have loading eager next to it, right? So it's not lazy loaded, right? So it looks like Next.js optimizes for it. Maybe fetch priority could have actually pushed it a little even more, even earlier. It's kind of interesting that this image was loaded first, was requested first before this image, or they were requested almost identically at the same time and competed for traffic, right? It looks like there is a little bit of opportunity to push this one up, right? Um, if I had my account and if I logged in, we could have tried opportunities and experiments. Do we have a full list here at all? No, my bad. Maybe one day we can try this feature of WebPageTest Pro, but you could try and let's say add a fetch priority, for example, right? And this could boost this main image a little more. Again, it might be splitting hairs. I might be overreacting still to this being request number 75, right? Like it just doesn't sit well with me. It should be request number what? Right after CSS. And CSS should be loading faster, and fonts shouldn't be loading before them. right? This is my general approach, right? Yeah, exactly. Like it's just it feels weird. Feels weird. I know. There is another thing, interesting thing. This image actually loaded from Shopify's CDN. Interesting. Considering that Shopify and Netlify are not the same vendor, right? I assume this did not go through Netlify. I mean, I know a little bit about uh, the companies, and they are not the same vendor. Yeah, uh, the Shopify is using Cloudflare, right? So it looks like there was a little bit of time spent connecting to that image domain, right? And I mean, we can ignore the my registry because that's probably not an important content here, right? Um, but basically, the images actually had to connect to the new domain first before they could be retrieved. This could have been optimized a little bit. Again, considering the long time to first byte, it's hard to tell, right? But there was a possibility of optimizing the image delivery. Preload could have been used, or priority or pre-connect. Preload probably not. Preload is preloading for next pages. It's pre-connect, right? You could pre-connect to this domain. You can optimize the what do we call it? So can I use or MDN preload? And I'm using the wrong browser. My bad. My apologies. Um, so preload. Uh, oh, oh. Am I using it wrong? Can I use preload? There you go. Resource hints preload. Uh, uh, yeah. Am I wrong? Is that not? Um, Somehow preload is just doesn't sit well with me. We don't use preload as much. Um, oh no, it is for the current navigation. My bad. My bad. It's kind of weird. Uh, yeah, I am completely wrong. It is about uh, uh, preloading current page. Yes, preload, uh, preload, pre-connect. Right? If you connect to the same domain for many resources, you might want to use pre-connect. Right? If you know exact resource you want, you might want to use preload, right? The one that we just saw, right? But fetch priority might be your best friend, and I explain why. Uh, Fetch priority. In fact, code as craft.etsy.com is a blog that our team maintains, and my colleague um, uh, David Ross, who was actually on our um team, who is on our team and was presenting at our meetup. There you go. Who wrote a blog post about priority hints. Let me share it with all of you real quick. It is prefetch. Exactly. Like I'm a little late today. It's been a long week. So so if you can read this article, like where he talks about priority hints. And does he mention specifically responsive images? Uh, yeah, yeah. He talks about responsive images a little bit, and the important thing here is that with prefetch and preload and all of those that have to specify a specific URL, you need to know URL in advance. But some of those URLs are actually determined in the browser, right? When responsive images and picture element source set is used, right? And that makes preload and prefetch is actually harder to implement, right? And you might want to use priority, fetch priority high on the element instead, right? To boost that priority, right? In fact, we, as you can see, saw quite a lot of boost, right? Like in our particular case, we, in this particular synthetic test, it went from 5.5 to 3.5, right? Like, and we saw some business impact as well. So, by the way, we were happy to help Chrome team ship it. Thank you, Patrick, for pushing it through. Just saying, right? So, doing a little bit of that finagling with the core images, either by pre-connecting to this domain to save on this little connection, or doing fetch priority, or loading from the same domain. Why does it have to come from Shopify CDN? They have their reasons, I can imagine, but it's possible that this could be done better, right? I can imagine the Cloudflare configuration right here. No, sorry, Netlify configuration. Actually, I do not know. I do not know if Netlify allows you to map to the same domain or not. Poster image, yeah, that's usually the best use case. That's what we did, right? We, on our product, like the article David is writing about, is we did the product image, our main product image, like the most important image on that particular page. Yeah. Oh, and when you say poster image, did you mean video tags poster image? I might have misunderstood what you're talking about. I apologize. And we can check. I believe you can. Yeah, LCP is not fun. Yeah. So priority hints. Let's take a look. I think there was something about poster image. At least I definitely remember it was discussed. Um, where would you find it? Hmm. I think there was a more advanced version of this table that actually exists as a Google Doc that Patrick Meenan maintains. Hmm. Um, no, that might be this. It might be this diagram right here. Huh. Media. This is media, image in viewport. Um, um, no, poster not isn't here. There is an element called like poster image video tag, right? Don't like this. Where is our MDN? There you go. Poster image attribute. It's this attribute. It's basically the proper way of specifying the video. Yeah, yeah. So my gut feeling is that it should work, but you should try. You should try. How would you know if it worked? I think in Chrome Developer Tools in Network Panel, and sorry, I asked my own question, right? In Network Panel, um, is it here? Where is our priority? No, you know what? In web page test, in fact, in specific request, if you click here, um, priority. Oh, yeah. Is it raw details? Yeah, in raw details, you can search for priority. There you go. So there is the initial priority and priority, right? And usually with uh, priority fetch priority high, it should immediately have initial priority as high, right? While for regular images, if you don't specify that, um, initial priority, let's take a look if that's true here. Um, Initial priority is low. Oh, in this case, it did not improve priority either, right? So basically, take a look at initial priority and priority, and generally, images have low priority. And sometimes browsers are smart enough to detect that the image will be um, in the viewport and upgrade the priority, but it looks like here it didn't happen in time. So uh, try looking at these priority, nominations, right? Like that's why the thing is called priority hints, right? Um, by the way, Paul, did you submit the Anchor website? I mean, you don't have to say, it doesn't have to be your website, right? As we always say, it can be a friend's website. Okay, you did. Oh, Henri submitted the second website. Thank you, Henri. Folks, if you want your website analyzed, feel free to post it in this URL, please. Okay, so poster preload. Can you link to that? Can you link or can you figure? Can you tell me how to find the source of the information you found? Um, Next time, maybe it works. Yeah, preload is a challenge. Like again, preload is easy, right? You can do preload, right? And prefetch, right? I keep forgetting which one. Preload, rel, prefetch. Mm, Prefetch. Uh, yeah, prefetch is for future navigation, and preload is for current navigation. Right? I keep confusing them. Funny story. I actually am the one who implemented a lot of this at our website, but like it's just too many words. Too many words. Priority hints are markup based signal. Available through fetch priority attribute. Yep, yep. By the way, another thing to mention here, unlike fetch priority, which is a markup based signal, preload can be a header, right? So the benefit of the header is that you can send it as part of the header output and not body output, which means that if you can do some smart convincing of your CDN, that header might be sent earlier. And early hints. Uh, where is my article that I'm looking for? And maybe it is already buried, but basically 103 early hints is a very new experimental technology. There you go, Tyrone, you're right. Um, it's a way to send a header back without sending the response. It is hard. Current CDNs and servers don't know how to do that well. It is being developed by different CDNs today, and like it's not final solution, right? And browser compatibility obviously is not perfect for it still, right? But it looks like uh, Chromium-based browsers already use that, right? Um, and if it works, other browsers might pick it up as well. But that can be amazingly helpful here, considering how long the time to first byte here is, right? If CDN could have sent 103 header here, right, like a few hundred milliseconds into the request, right, it's possible that like those images could be preloaded, or some other domains like this domain could be pre-connected to earlier. It is a very advanced and very experimental feature as of today, but let me try to find it. It's uh, early hints, Shopify. I think Shopify team was the first to uh, um, really publicize it. So here's the article for all of you. Um, and maybe they will talk about it in May, right? Maybe they will talk about this fun experience, right? And Sia presented that at Perf Now conference, right? So, uh, yeah, maybe I'm looking for an article that doesn't exist, or sorry about that. But this definitely is worth watching, right? It's actually early learnings from December this year, or this past year, right? Um, which Sia presented. Um, okay, what time is it? We are kind of running close to the end of our session tonight. Um, my voice is going for sure. So if you all have any questions about this, if you want me to keep looking at this waterfall, let me know. Right, this is LCP. Well, we can talk about image optimization as well. This is a little bit of a big image um, for the mobile device, in my opinion. My opinion is usually a little conservative on the matter, though. Where is it? I got used to these drop downs. I cannot find information anywhere else. The body size, 94 kilobytes. Maybe I'm a little too conservative. Source maps. Um, I'm not an expert on source maps. Um, it is a very useful resource. I mean, what do you have specific questions? One thing for sure that is useful, I believe, if you remember, actually, let's go to. Do we have some simple website? Maybe netlify.com. Said the guy, and they redesigned their website recently, so maybe it's no longer that simple. Sorry, but if we open up that drawer and go to that again, three drop downs to the coverage, right? And if we reload this page, we can look at how source maps can be used here, for example, right? So if we ignore these extensions, this is the top script, right? If we, sorry, I don't know if it's how visible that is. Let me minimize this a tiny bit. Maybe I can actually move it into full screen. And how do I move the drawer to the right? I probably can't, right? I forgot how to do that. Drawer on the right, drawer on the right. No, I don't. Anyway, the point is that this used and unused markers on the left, right? I believe they can now use the source maps. This particular website does not expose it to everybody else. I know some people expose source maps, and we can actually scroll down. Usually it's either first comment or last comment. I mean, these resources don't actually link to the source maps, but some websites allow you to link to the resource map that is under authentication, right? In which case, only your developers will be able to see the source maps. But in that case, this coverage, for example, can be very useful with the source maps, right? So source maps are a great feature. Sorry if I butchered your question. Not sure if that's what you wanted to know. The ways to implement them. Um, ways to implement them depends on your packaging solution, right? Webpack, which I used mostly for similar tasks. Again, I'm not an expert in different packaging solutions, uh, but Webpack has multiple plugins that generate source maps, right? Um, so that's as much as I know kind of about it, right? I used a few, in my experience, in my past experience with mostly React, right? Actually, not only React, but mostly React, yeah, to do that. Diagnostics cannot tell you much. I mostly specialize in performance, and we actually have a separate team at our company that specializes in packaging. They are much better at it. I mean, I was on platform team at Meetup, for example, that where our team was responsible for it. But again, I don't remember enough about it. Yep. Uh, Primarily is helpful for diagnosing minified code as a developer. It is very useful. We do use it. Uh, I'm not meant to advertise Netlify necessarily, but they're a good company. They recently redesigned their logo for some reason. They did write an article about it. Um, Maybe they want to acquire Next as well, and that's why they're preparing the N logo. Sorry, I didn't mean to to do something to their branding. They're great. Both are great companies. Um, um, they are very designery, very front end centric company. Um, okay. They did acquire Gatsby recently, right? So gatsbyjs.com, I believe, right? Was their domain? Yeah. Gatsby is joining Netlify. Yeah. With the old logo Netlify. Sorry. Buying next, next. Okay, next. Thank you, Andre. You're very helpful here. Like with my when I run out of jokes, please help. Please help. It's tough to chase high TBT because if JavaScript is uglified. Yeah, yeah. So good news is that Chrome developer tools use source maps very extensively. So all of your Chrome developer performance panels will be telling you truth about your code. You might need to tweak it around if something doesn't work, but it does work. It's useful. Um, yeah. And yes, TBT. Oh my God. I was a React proponent early on. Not early on. I wasn't early on in the React world, but I feel that React rant started. React brought new wave of wrong defaults, unfortunately, and TBT suffers. TBT or FID, whatever interactivity metrics, if you measure them, suffer, but users suffer, right? Like it affects the users a lot. I wish React was decomposed into pieces, independent pieces, and we used the right pieces like JSX, for example, JSX is an amazing technology, has nothing to do with runtime transformation, has nothing to do with um, everything React does wrong, right? The React best practices or things that people omit by building SPAs way too easily, right? It might not be React's sole problem. It's um, it's primarily uh, we made developer experience faster without correspondingly creating great experience for users. And React's market share is fighting against our users' experience as a result. Yeah, 2 megabytes in that test, 2 megabytes of JavaScript was quite a lot. Can I see the history? Yeah, I can see the history again. Sorry, wrong page. Um, right. Amount of JavaScript is high. Page weight is 4 megabytes, not that high, but amount of JavaScript is high, right? It's very possible that Anchor needs to optimize their bundling beyond just um, other things. Like it looks like this framework, which is Next.js, is doing a lot of execution. It loads a lot of code. It's very possible it's not built for production code. 2 megabytes of JavaScript is a lot. I think production it's a lot for production code to run. Interesting that Edge has source map monitor tab, but Chrome doesn't. Really? I didn't know that. But we need to give credit to Microsoft's team that they are investing in a lot of unusual, not unusual, a lot of new developer tools, right? That Chrome did not have necessarily. Um, I mean, after all, they offset a lot of cost by using Chromium, right? Why not invest some of those resources into better developer tools? Yeah, I agree. I agree. I wish all of that was available to all the browsers, however. Speaking of which, you were talking about um, um, something that I might find here, right? So you're saying source maps are not here, right? And if we do Shift Command P, source map. Yeah, there are not many tools in Chrome. That's right. That's right. Okay, I think we will wrap up on that note. Please bring your URLs. Please bring your URLs next time. Um, uh, Henri knows his URL submission practices. Thank you, Henri. Please, you do too. Please bring the URLs. Let me switch over to my awesome face. Where's my awesome face? Do I need to just say this? Yeah, there you go. Let me hide that banner. I am also a live stream aficionado, like Henri, still learning. Um, thank you all for joining. Really appreciate your spending time with me. Please bring your questions, bring your website to analyze. Sometimes it's better if you are the developer of the site. We can go deeper or um, discuss specific problems with much more point, right? And we actually did optimize a website once at Meet for Speed session. If quite a few years back, though, it's probably 10 years ago, you know. But we had someone push to production right at our session, and that was quite an achievement. I think Business Insider actually wrote an article about it, which is fun, long time ago. So, oh yeah, and I remember I was called Happy Go Lucky for helping people out to do that. It's the first time I heard that word. Oh my god. So, uh, when you say you got the link, what do you mean by that? Which link did you mean? Anyway, thank you all for joining. We'll wrap it up here. I will see you all in a month at our Meet for Speeds, but also visit WebPageTest stream. Um, okay, here is the form for submission. By the way, if Adekami, if you wanna post your link for the for analysis next time, please do so. Please do so. It's better if you do it at the event because we might forget the previous one. um, but you can also go to our speaker sessions if you are a New Yorker and join them as well. Um, Henri also promotes other meetups. As was it Hanover or Hamburg meetup? I forgot. I remember the age. In Germany, that is restarting. Um, and if you want to start meetup where you are, by all means do that. I'll be happy to help. Hamburg. That's right. That's right. By the way, if we have any Londoners, although I know it's probably late there, come talk to me as well. I'm the new organizer of the London meetup because the team stopped running the meetup on the meetup.com. So I took it over. We can uh, we can restart it. I know. Like the team actually moved from off of meetup.com as a platform, uh, not necessarily. I don't mean to like to take away their work, right? But I know that the team is not running the group anymore, and they're like dissolving the current organizing team. So I cannot call you tomorrow, Henri. Sorry about that. I will be indisposed tomorrow, but we can talk next week. Absolutely, we can talk next week about it. Anyhow, thank you everybody for joining. I'll see you all soon. Spread the word of web performance. Optimize your websites. Take care. Bye, everybody.